Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Verlicity AI podcast. I'm Cristian Worthington.
And I'm Sandra Giffin. Today we're going to talk about something that underpins every single interaction we have, both online and in the real world: trust.
That's right. But we're not just talking about the trust you have with your favorite online store or your bank. We're talking about a completely new dimension of trust that is emerging with the rise of agentic AI.
I want you to imagine a scenario, maybe just a year or two from now. You're planning a family vacation. Instead of spending hours searching for flights, hotels, and rental cars, you simply say to your personal AI assistant, "Book a trip for 4 to Honolulu for the last week of July. Keep the total budget under $5,000. Prioritize hotels with a pool and book a minivan."
Sounds amazing. Your AI agent then goes to work. It scours the web, negotiates with airline and hotel booking systems, and pieces together the perfect itinerary, all while you're having dinner. It's the ultimate vision of efficiency promised by the Agentic Economy.
But let's pause for a moment and look at what's really happening. In the past, when you booked a trip online, it was a two-way relationship. It was you, the customer, interacting directly with a vendor like an airline's website. You trusted the website because it had a little padlock icon in the address bar indicating the communication was secure, and you trusted the airline's brand. Maybe you're not aware of the technology behind that padlock icon, but you know it's trustworthy. And maybe you have history with the airline. You've done business with that company before.
Yeah, your trust is operating at many levels in that scenario, but it's all between you and the airline's website. There are just two of you in that relationship, and everyone has a comfort level. But now, with agentic AI, we've introduced a third party into that relationship: your AI agent. It's no longer a simple two-way line of trust. It's a triangle. There's you, the customer. There's the vendor on the other side. And in the middle, there's your AI agent acting on your behalf.
And this is the core of our discussion today. This trust triangle creates a complex new dynamic where everyone involved has questions and potential trust issues.
It may sound like you're just adding one more piece to the puzzle, but it's a lot more complicated.
Absolutely. You have to trust your agent. The vendor has to trust your agent. Since the agent picked the airline for you, you may not be flying with the airline you normally use. So you need to trust that the agent has made a wise choice when it selected the airline. Your trust for the airline isn't a given in this scenario, and maybe the airline feels the same way about you. After all, you're new to this airline, and you're coming to them through this nebulous intermediary, the AI agent.
And we're only talking about one agent at the table. In the near future, people will be employing teams of agents to perform tasks. You can see how this tangled web of trust issues can get very complicated very quickly. The success of the entire multi-trillion-dollar agentic economy hinges on solving this trust triangle problem. Today, we're going to break down the trust triangle, explore the challenges from each perspective, and discuss the new kinds of solutions being built to make this future possible. We'll keep it high level, focusing on the principles, not just the jargon. And we'll offer you some advice so you don't find yourself blindsided by problems that will become common in the very near future.
You know, this reminds me of the early days of the web when people discovered the hard way that they needed antivirus software.
One thing is for sure, you don't want to join the agentic economy with your eyes closed.
So, to really understand why this trust triangle is such a big deal, we need to look at how we built trust on the internet we use today, the world of Web 2.0.
For most of us, trust online is symbolized by that little padlock icon you see in your browser's address bar. That icon signifies that you have a secure, encrypted connection to the website you're visiting thanks to something called an SSL or a TLS certificate.
Exactly. Companies like VeriSign became pillars of the early internet by issuing these certificates. You also had things like trust marks from services like TrustE, which would certify that a website followed certain privacy policies. These were all designed to solve a fundamental problem. How do you, a human, trust a website which is essentially a static server somewhere.
And those mechanisms worked brilliantly for that era. They secured our data in transit and verified the identity of the website. But here's the problem. An AI agent is not a static website.
That is the critical difference. An AI agent is an active, autonomous participant in the economy. It makes decisions. It takes initiative. It interacts with multiple parties, some of which it may have never encountered before.
The old model of trust was built for a two-party human-to-server interaction. The new model needs to handle dynamic, multi-party interactions like user-to-agent, agent-to-vendor, and even agent-to-agent. That little padlock icon can't tell a vendor that your agent is actually authorized to spend your money. It can't prove to you that your agent is acting in your best interest and not being manipulated.
To put this in context, we're all comfortable making credit card purchases over the web because the credit card company guarantees the transaction and there are protocols for verifying your identity and getting refunds. You also know that if your card number is stolen, the credit card company has your back. They have fraud detection systems that actively detect problems. But the old trust infrastructure was about verifying a static identity at a single point in time.
Yes, but the agentic economy needs something far more granular and dynamic. It needs to verify an agent's identity, its specific permissions for a specific task, and the integrity of its actions in real time.
Imagine the AI agent using your credit card to buy something on your behalf. How would the credit card company be able to distinguish between an AI agent using your card legitimately and an agent being used by a hacker sitting in his basement?
And this is just the tip of the iceberg. AI agents, and eventually AI-enabled robots, are going to be doing a lot of things that require trust. So if the old trust tools are insufficient, then what?
Let's break down the new challenges. Let's look at the first corner of our triangle, the customer.
Okay, so I've delegated a task to my AI agent. As the customer, what are my fears? What are my trust issues? They really fall into two categories: trusting my agent itself and trusting the vendors it interacts with.
Let's start with trusting the agent. The first question is, will it do what I actually want? We've all seen AI models hallucinate or generate incorrect information. Studies have shown this can happen anywhere from 2.5% to over 22% of the time. If I send my agent to buy something, I need to know it won't misunderstand and buy the wrong thing, or worse, get scammed.
Then there's the issue of loyalty. How do I know my agent is acting in my best interest? Is it finding me the genuinely best deal? Or is it being subtly steered towards a vendor that paid the agent's developer for preferential treatment? This challenges the very idea of delegated agency.
And of course, there's privacy and security. I'm giving this agent access to my personal data, my calendar, potentially my financial accounts. I need absolute certainty that this information is secure and won't be misused, leaked, or exposed.
This isn't just theoretical anxiety. A recent PwC survey found that confidence in AI agents for high-stakes tasks is currently very low. Only 20% of people said they would trust an AI agent to handle a financial transaction. That's a massive trust deficit.
And what about the other side of that relationship? Trusting the vendor through my agent. How does my agent know that supercheapflights.ai is a legitimate business and not a sophisticated front for phishing? The agent is my shield, my representative in the digital world. I have to trust its judgment and its ability to vet the parties it deals with. Otherwise, my agent could be putting me at risk as it sprinkles my private information across the web.
So from the customer's perspective, the agent is this incredibly powerful but potentially unreliable black box. We need a way to be sure it's competent, loyal, and secure before we're willing to hand over the keys to our digital lives. But we're only one corner of the triangle. The vendor on the other side has a completely different set of concerns.
Now let's flip the perspective. You're the vendor. An AI agent shows up at your digital storefront wanting to make a purchase. What are your trust issues?
The first and most obvious one is this a legitimate customer or a malicious bot? Is this agent here to buy a product, or is it a competitor's agent trying to scrape all my pricing data? Or worse, is it a hostile agent probing my systems for security vulnerabilities?
This is a huge concern, especially in B2B environments. B2B relationships are built on deep, established trust and have a very low tolerance for risk. An anonymous AI agent showing up to negotiate a multi-million-dollar procurement deal is a terrifying prospect for many businesses.
Absolutely. But let's say the vendor believes the agent is legitimate. The next question is authorization. How do I, the vendor, know this AI agent is truly authorized by its human user to make this purchase?
This is critical. Imagine the agent makes a large purchase and the human user later claims, "I never approved that. My AI went rogue." Who is liable? The vendor is out of pocket and a messy dispute begins. Businesses need cryptographic proof that the agent has the specific delegated authority for that specific transaction.
And finally, there's the issue of data integrity. The agent might provide information to the vendor, shipping details, specifications, personal data. The vendor needs to trust that this information is accurate and hasn't been tampered with.
So for the vendor, the AI agent is an unknown entity that represents a potential risk of fraud, financial loss, and legal liability. They need verifiable assurance of the agent's identity, its authority, and its good intentions before they can engage in a transaction.
It's clear that the old trust models are completely out of their depth here. So what's the solution? How do we build a new infrastructure that can satisfy the trust requirements of everyone in the triangle?
This is where we see a whole new market for trust technologies emerging, what some are calling the AI trust, risk, and security management, or TRISM market. It's projected to be worth over $7 billion by 2030. We won't get lost in the weeds, but let's talk about the principles behind these new solutions and why you need to be aware of the progress being made in this area.
The first pillar is verifiable identity and authority. How do you prove who an agent is and what it's allowed to do? The key technologies here are things like decentralized identifiers, DIDs, and verifiable credentials, VCs.
The easiest way to think about this is with a travel analogy. A DID is like an agent's passport. It's a permanent, globally unique ID that proves its fundamental identity. A VC is like a visa or a plane ticket. It's a temporary, specific permission that proves the agent is authorized by its user to perform a very specific task, like book a flight to Honolulu for under $500.
So the agent can show its passport to prove who it is and its visa to prove what it's allowed to do, all using encryption that ensures trust. Companies like Indicio and Checkhead are building this exact infrastructure. This gives the vendor the proof they need without the agent having to share all of the user's private data.
The second pillar is information integrity. How can we trust the data the AI uses and the content it creates? This is where the old saying garbage in, garbage out is more true than ever. A huge part of this is data provenance, knowing where the information came from.
And we're seeing new techniques emerge to handle this. For AI-generated content, there's watermarking. Google's Synth ID, for example, embeds an invisible digital watermark into AI images, so you can verify it was made by an AI. IBM is even developing watermarks for tabular data.
The third pillar is secure and private interaction. When an agent is handling your sensitive financial or health data, how do you ensure it remains secret, even during processing? This is where a field called confidential computing comes in. It uses secure hardware enclaves to create a protected box where an AI can work on your sensitive data without anyone, not even the cloud provider that owns the server, being able to peek inside.
So you have these layers: verifiable identity, information integrity, and secure interaction. Together, they form the bedrock of a new trust infrastructure designed for the complexity of the agentic world. But these are foundational technologies. How will they actually show up in our daily lives in a way we can see and use?
That's the key question. Let's explore a few of the most likely ways this infrastructure will take shape. Starting with the very first place you'll probably go to hire your agent.
Let's start with an obvious evolution, a concept that will feel very familiar to anyone with a smartphone, a dedicated, curated app store for AI agents.
Exactly. Think about it. You don't download apps for your phone from some random unsecured website. You go to the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store, where you have a baseline level of trust. You know that the apps have been vetted for malware and that they have to meet certain standards to even be listed.
An AI agent app store would take that concept to a whole new level. It wouldn't just be scanning for viruses. It would be a marketplace built on the pillars of trust we just discussed. Before an agent could be listed, it would have to pass a rigorous set of checks.
These checks would be far more comprehensive. For example, the store could require every agent to have a registered decentralized identifier DID, so its origin is known. It would need to demonstrate its ability to properly use verifiable credentials for authorization. Its privacy policy would be scrutinized to ensure it handles user data responsibly. They could even run tests to check for biases or a tendency to hallucinate.
This creates a powerful incentive for developers. If you want access to the millions of customers using the store, you have to build your agent to be trustworthy from the ground up. For the user, it solves a huge part of the trust problem. You're no longer hiring an unknown entity. You're choosing from a pool of vetted, certified candidates with clear ratings and reviews about their reliability and safety.
This is a massive business opportunity for an existing player like Apple or Google, or for a new company to emerge as the premier, trusted marketplace for AI agents.
Okay, so a trusted app store helps us find a reliable agent. But that brings us to the most critical and high-stakes interaction of all, spending money. This is where the vendor's dilemma really comes into focus. How do they know for sure that your agent is authorized to use your funds?
You're right. This is where the rubber meets the road. We can't just give our agents our credit card number and hope for the best. The existing fraud detection systems are built to spot anomalies in human behavior. They might flag an AI agent's rapid, automated purchasing patterns as fraud. Or conversely, they might not be able to distinguish a legitimate agent from a fraudulent one.
How can they possibly trust this?
The solution will almost certainly involve deputizing your agent in a formal, verifiable way. It will require the direct involvement of our financial institutions, our banks, and credit card companies. They will need to create new protocols for this agentic economy. And it will likely build directly on the verifiable credentials we've been discussing. Imagine this workflow. You decide you want your agent to be able to book travel for you. You log into your bank's secure website or app. There, you'll find a new option, Authorize AI Agent. You could then issue a specific cryptographically signed verifiable credential to your agent.
And that credential wouldn't be a blank check. It would be incredibly granular. You could specify, this agent is authorized to spend up to $1,000 with recognized airlines and hotels, and this authorization is only valid for the next 48 hours. Or, this agent is allowed to spend no more than X amount every month.
When your agent then goes to the airline's website, it presents this VC as proof of payment authorization. The airline system can instantly and cryptographically verify with your bank that the credential is valid, that the purchase is within the limits you set, and that it comes from your authorized agent.
This solves the problem for everyone. The vendor is protected from fraudulent chargebacks because they have cryptographic proof of your authorization, and you, the customer, have fine-grained control over your agent's spending power, dramatically reducing your risk.
It completes the trust triangle for the transaction. The customer has control, the vendor has proof, and the agent has clear, verifiable authority.
And this is a massive business opportunity, not just for an existing player like Apple or Google, but for a new company to emerge as the trusted front door to the entire agentic economy.
So we have technical solutions and market-based solutions like app stores and new payment systems. But none of this happens in a vacuum. This brings us to the crucial and very complex role of governments and legislators.
This is a very delicate balancing act. On the one hand, clear rules of the road are absolutely necessary. The most pressing question is liability. If an autonomous AI agent causes significant financial loss or physical harm, who is legally responsible? Is it the user who deployed it, the company that developed the agent, the marketplace that sold it?
Without legal clarity on liability, businesses will be hesitant to adopt the technology, and consumers will be left unprotected. We need thoughtful legislation that establishes frameworks for consumer protection, data rights, and accountability in the age of AI agents. We may need legislation that limits a consumer's liability.
But on the other hand, and this is a major concern in the tech community, there is a tremendous risk of premature or clumsy overregulation. Lawmakers who may not fully grasp the nuances of the technology could inadvertently create rigid, burdensome laws that stifle innovation.
If regulations are too restrictive, they could prevent beneficial technologies from ever reaching the market and put nations at a severe competitive disadvantage in this global AI race. The key is for legislators to tread lightly but deliberately. The goal should be to regulate the application and outcomes of AI, not the underlying technology itself.
The most effective approach is likely an agile and collaborative one. Governments should create sandboxes for innovation and work directly with technologists, ethicists, and industry stakeholders. They should focus on setting clear principles and desired outcomes, like safety, fairness, and transparency, while allowing the methods for achieving those outcomes to evolve with the technology. It's about building guardrails for the highway, not dictating the engineering of every car on it.
This all might sound very futuristic, and it's true that most of us aren't using sophisticated AI agents just yet. But this future is coming fast, and there are practical, forward-looking steps we can all take to prepare.
We believe this is the most important part of the conversation. It's not just about what tech companies are building, it's about how we, as users, prepare ourselves to engage with this new reality. So what's our practical advice?
First, become a more conscious consumer of AI starting now. The AI tools you use today, like ChatGPT, Gemini, or Copilot, are your training ground. When you get an answer, practice asking critical questions. Where might this information have come from? What biases could be embedded in this response? Is it trying to persuade me? Building this critical discernment muscle now is the single best way to prepare for a future where you'll need to evaluate the output of your own agent.
Second, conduct an audit of your digital identity. Your future AI agent will be an extension of you. Its power and access will be derived from your accounts. Take some time now to review your digital footprint. What permissions have you granted to apps? How secure are your main accounts? Think about what a personal agent, acting on your behalf, could access. Strengthening your personal digital security is foundational to preparing for secure agentic AI.
Third, learn to spot the new trust signals. Just as we learn to look for the padlock icon, we will need to learn the signals of a trustworthy agentic service. When these services launch, look at how they talk about trust. Do they mention verifiable credentials? Do they have clear policies on data privacy and agent loyalty? Are they transparent about how their agent makes decisions? Be an educated, discerning early adopter, not just a passive user.
And finally, champion the human-centric skills. As AI agents take over more routine tasks, the most valuable human roles will shift. The new economy will place a premium on skills like AI oversight, ethical governance, strategic thinking, and complex problem-solving, the very things needed to manage and direct these powerful agents responsibly. Focus your own professional development on the skills that complement AI, rather than compete with it.
These steps are about building a mindset of proactive and informed engagement. The goal is to be a pilot of your AI, not just a passenger.
So, we've journeyed through the AI trust triangle today. We've seen that the simple two-way trust of the old internet is no longer enough for a world with active, autonomous AI agents.
From the customer's need for a competent and loyal agent to the vendor's need for a verified and authorized counterpart, the challenges are complex.
But the solutions emerging from verifiable credentials to confidential computing show that a technical foundation for this new trust economy is being built as we speak. It's critical to remember that this isn't just a technical problem to be solved with clever cryptography. It's a socio-technical challenge. It requires a combination of robust technology, clear ethical guidelines, adaptable regulations, and most importantly, an educated and aware public, like you.
The AI trust market is growing rapidly because businesses understand that trust is not a feature. It is the fundamental enabler for the entire agentic AI market. Companies that embed trust into the fabric of their AI systems will be the ones that win our confidence and our business.
As we stand at the dawn of this new economy, each of us has a role to play. By being curious, critical, and conscious of these new trust dynamics, we can all contribute to building a future where agentic AI can achieve its incredible potential safely and responsibly.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on this. What are your biggest questions about trusting an AI agent? Share your experiences with us at verlicity.ai or tag us at verlicity.ai on your favorite social media platform.
And if you found this conversation valuable, please share it with a friend and subscribe so you don't miss our next episode. Thank you for joining us on the Verlicity AI podcast. I'm Cristian Worthington.
And I'm Sandra Giffin. Until next time, stay curious and be aware of the third party at the table as we all move towards an agentic economy.